Hey everybody, this is for kind of Nevadans anyway. So I haven't really posted anything. I had fixed up that property. This year it would have been just unbelievably gorgeous with 150 herbal plants and all the food. These are the plants that I saved. A lot of them I grew from seed. The peach trees and the plum cots. And my little baby apples, and then I have some choke cherry and that sweetgrass, and then I think that's it over in this bunch. But anyway, I ended up having to dig up as much as I could to save them, and then I liquidated a lot of them for free to people I knew, so that those plants could continue on. But it was a nightmare. All the money I spent and fixing up that property and cleaning it up was just unbelievably, probably one of the actual physically hardest things I've ever done. But I had no options, and in the end, they decided after it was cleaned up and it looked good that they were going to sell it, but I doubt that they actually have sold it because it's a train wreck. So anyway, that's kind of what happened, and so now I'm living kind of in a broken down 20-foot trailer and on a friend's property, and with the dogs. Yeah, and these are the plants, like I said, I rescued. I've got some more. And I got these shade cloths up because the heat is so unbelievably bad right now in Nevada, in the dust sand dune. So I want to talk about kind of like the big beautiful bill that they're trying to pass in Congress. It is a giant land grab, and it's a super land grab in Nevada. And they're isolating areas that would have a lot of water flow, mountains, and even down in southern Las Vegas. And I read that there's some areas up by Mount Rose, like, Lake Tahoe area. There are a whole bunch of areas all over Nevada. Now, there's a lot of key points here. You do not want to lose your public lands. If you lose your public lands, you'll never get them back. And they are focusing on key strategy points of water flow, snow, water flow. So they could actually take all the water from these water points on these land that you wouldn't get. Okay, so we wouldn't get that. And it would be diverted and sold to somebody else. They're trying to say that it's for low-income housing. Yeah, I don't think that low-income housing would be built on Mount Rose Highway or out there in Las Vegas, out in the middle of nowhere. And so it's just total crap. Let me put it into like a perspective here that you should be really concerned, and you should be contacting the Attorney General of the state of Nevada. You should be contacting your legislatures, your federal congressional senators, your governor, and anybody else that you can actually hunt down and formally complain to. Also, the White House, urging Trump to veto this bill that they're trying to attempt to do. Now, it would be, I think they said 33 million acres. Like, are you kidding me? And that would be public land that's lost. Why would this really, really matter right now? Well, I can't remember what hasn't been found in Nevada, okay? I think it's either an emerald or a diamond. I think it's probably an emerald. Everything else, every metal that there is that exists, water, gemstones, all kinds of stuff, okay, is in the Nevada, okay? We had, like a really strong history of mining. Look, we have so many ghost towns where a lot of this, mining was. Okay, so what is going to happen? what's happening right now is that the states are being kicked out of the federal government because in the original organic constitution, states are their own countries. So this is why they're eliminating things like SNAP, USDA grants for small farmers, doing this, getting rid of Section 8, and a lot of these types of things, because the feds shouldn't be paying for this stuff. They're not going to be paying for eventually they're not going to be paying for federal roads and schools, because it's up to the individual state as a republic. Okay, listen to me. If we are returning back to the republic, the states need to either have their public, okay, Nevada is the 5th largest state, only 15% of it's lived in. It has like no taxes. We're like 47th in the nation for taxes, but we're also the worst schools in the United States. I think we rank like 50th. So Nevada was a debt-free state. It said that on a sign up until the 90s, until the feds actually started coming in. And what they did is they came after the mafia first. I know this because my dad that raised me worked for the mafia most of my life. And so once they got rid of the mafia in Nevada, they started controlling the roads. So then we started having a speed limit, and then we had this, and we had that, and then we were no longer a debt-free state. We don't make enough money in Nevada to actually pay all of our bills, which means we'd have to get rid of our legislature and their, high amounts of money and whatever else that we could get rid of. Okay? But once the states are kicked out, Florida understands this. They just passed legislation that they will be going to gold only as payment system starting April 2026. Okay, they're not going to be doing US dollar. They're not going to be playing any more games with the federal government. So if we go back to a republic, which that's where we're headed, your state is going to have to figure out new financial pathways, and the pathways to being able to spend solid monies or constitutional money, which would be pretty much gold, right? So, okay, so why does this matter in the state of Nevada? Because mining does not really pay tax. Okay, like they lie about that. They say mining pays for schools for tax. They don't. Nevada is a non-corporation tax state, tax-free state. You think Elon Musk came here and built all the fucking, excuse my language, Tesla battery buildings on what he bought up basically for nothing, paid no tax on it? Like, I don't know. I think it was something like 200,000 acres. And then built like a huge plant. And by the which, none of the people got hired. None of the high-end jobs got hired. Panasonic, that came out of Japan, that works with Tesla and their batteries, they hired a lot of local people. But Tesla really didn't, because it was nobody educated in green energies. So they hired people from India. They hired people from all over the United States. These people bought houses. So we had like a housing market boom here, apartment building boom, okay? But the locals really didn't get those jobs because, we're ranked 50th in the nation as far as education, okay? All right, so why would it matter? Why would it matter if we lost 33 million acres of land in Nevada? Well, we would lose water rights to it that we would never get back. I've helped indigenous, people do legal work. And once they lose their water rights or sell them off, they never really get them back. So if Nevada, right, we became our own country underneath the republic, all of that gold, all that water, all those assets under the ground would become our money, the public's money, okay, our money. We would base our new gold standard, capital, whatever it is, on that. We also, as a population, would be getting annual or biannual kickbacks. We would get a percentage, like in Alaska. I think now they're getting like 2 checks a year. It's like $7,000 per person that lives in Alaska for the oil. So we would be entitled to everything that the land in Nevada provided. Okay, so do not sell your assets. If you are a Nevada resident, do not sell your assets. Do not allow our state to give the federal government our assets. And, you know, as far as we know, there could be also a lot of really heavy rare earth minerals in that 33 million acres that they're trying to snag through the big, beautiful bill. Okay? So do your homework. Like when there's new bills and legislation coming out, do yourself a favor and actually read them, okay? Don't listen to the mainstream media. Oh, you're not gonna pay taxes on your Social Security. You're not gonna have to pay federal tax on your check. Yeah, oh, yeah. Well, what are you giving up instead? You may just be giving up everything. And remember, they could always take those tax gifts back, okay? And they could actually make worse legislation to tax you more than they're taxing you now. So do yourself a favor, do your homework, always pay attention to what you have to lose, okay? And if we allow this 33 million acres to go right at the point where we're going to become a republic, you just sold your whole future away. You sold the capability of Nevada being able to back a currency, gold back a currency based off of underground assets, because all the mining companies will be kicked out because they won't be able to just harvest Nevadans' assets out of the ground anymore. They will have to actually have us to tell them what they can take out, what they can't, and how much it's going to cost them, and what our annual stipend for that per person is going to be. Okay? So do the math, think, use your brain, learn law, pay attention, and get your shit together.